of Nigerians and manipulate it is a concern. But the politics of those days, people look beyond sentiment these days. People look at performance. And as we talk...
But even in looking at performance, you must also take the sentiments into...
Yes,
you don't jettison it to...
Yes,
it's very critical.
Yes, very important. As we talk, the student loan is not a facade.
Yes, it's real.
The base of a beneficiary is expanding by the day.
It's expanding by the day, yes.
Price of life is fluctuating now.
Yeah.
Security situation is also getting better.
Better, yes.
And the government is looking in the direction of state police. The power sector, a lot of states are reluctant, but many states are picking up that courageous move to begin to generate power.
Because it has been, power has been...
So the picture is getting
clearer,
better.
Yes, clearer, yes.
So if you want to wrap up sentiment, intelligent and patriotic Nigeria will say that no. It's not as if we didn't see anything though. It might not be as fast as we thought. But things are getting better.
Yes.
That is going to be a plus for Tinubu in the coming election.
Yes.
And between now and the next 1 or 2 years, there are things we will see have been able to do so that he'll be able to showcase in his campaign that look at my track record. And I said it's not a careless person. I know very well that he has his own political strategy. It's in place and is implementing it. But PDP is in disarray. They are no longer a strong opposition.
Are they even an opposition now?
That rickety state,
PDP is divided though. They are factionalized.
That rickety state they are is not a good condition for them to go into any election for now. They are in trouble. But SDP might be the natural platform for people. That's why I said, Rufai coming in, other people might want to.
But what is the political weight of a Rufai in the SDP? This was a man.
No, it's the president that I say we should. Maybe might have the courage of not wanting to come to. That's why I say you have to be very careful. You don't just assume and conclude that.
No, absolutely, yes.
So if Rufai comes, he's going to embolden others who might say, if I want to leave a PDP, I better go to APC. But because he's in SDP now, if I want to join, and that is why the door of membership for APC should be wide open. And I think that is the reason why GD is able to come in easily. And other people are also be going into APC in other states. So they should look at their own mechanism of getting more people inside and be more committed to their programs. Economic, on power sector, security,
infrastructure. For example,
yes.
When you talked about the achievements of the President Bola Ahmed, you look at the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Look at the level of rate of work.
The Sokoto Lagos is also
yes. The Ogbomoso Ilorin Highway has been awarded now because the former contractor failed to live up to expectation. So, but before going into
and
that,
all the states in the country that are ABCs are not doing bad at all. If you look at,
yes.
For over 2 weeks now, Sanwo-Olu has been commissioning projects
everywhere in Lagos. You look at an Ekiti state, the same thing is happening. Yes.
Another region too, in the north.
Even in the east, you talk about the Peter Mbai in So, Comrade Local, but where I want to disagree with you is that you talked about why President Goodluck Jonathan lost in 2015. President Goodluck Jonathan lost in 2015 because of misgovernance. President Goodluck Jonathan lost in 2015 because he mismanaged the goodwill with which he came into office. This was a president under whose watch Boko Haram were controlling about almost 20 local governments.
And that's why I say it's fidgety.
No, it's not about fidgety.
The decision he needs to take
to
curb insecurity, he didn't take that decision.
You talked about the...
Even on policies at times.
You talked about the...
Look at, if he's not fidgety, what is subsidy doing at his own time?
No.
If he's not fidgety.
People have tried to always remind us that in 2012, we took to the streets. You and I were actively involved.
Of course.
Because he removed subsidy. And I've tried to educate them. I said, look, what we had with Jonathan was that we wanted to have an intellectual discussion about this subsidy. And while Jonathan was pretending to listen to us, He went and did something else. And because we told him in 2010, when Goodluck Jonathan took over from late Yar'Adua, if I remember vividly, because I wrote an article on it, the amount of money being used to service the fuel subsidy regime was less than 300 billion naira in a year. When Jonathan became president in 2010, when Yar'Adua died, it rose to about 700 billion.
Yes.
Then by 2011, Jonathan said it was now about 1.3, and we said no, Mr. President, there's fraud in this thing, in this scheme. And Jonathan was pretending as if we were talking to the Marines, only for us to wake up on October 1, 2012, and realize that President Goodluck Jonathan had removed the subsidy and increased the petrol pump price. Because the major reason why we fought President Goodluck Jonathan, I think our viewers, I want them to understand, was that President Goodluck Jonathan did not show good faith with the resources of the Nigerian people as president. President Goodluck Jonathan, I remember a conversation former Senate President Bukola Saraki said he had with him, that he told him that this fuel subsidy is a scam. And President Goodluck Jonathan told him that, Senator, then he was not saying, he said the oil business is very oily. So President Goodluck Jonathan was a leader that when you identify a problem to him, the man doesn't know what to do.
I told you,
he will just say, leave it like that.
No, you understand, the man is fidgety. He's fidgety because he look at the complication of the consequence of what he might want to do.
Yes.
So the way out,
he was not decisive.
The way out is very rocky. He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to rock any boat. So he wants things to go as usual.
Even the kind of person who make an INEC president, the profile, everything, you should examine it very well. So those were the things I like. All this you have also mentioned. It's majorly part of it. So eventually, when the coalition came, it was easy for the coalition. It was a walkover.
Yes, it was a walkover. Yes, he himself knew it.
But that was why the election was. When Buhari came on board, he surrounded himself with people who were authorities on political matters. So any coalition is dead on arrival. So, and part of the kitchen cabinet, politically of Buhari that time, that didn't make coalition work against his own government. It's not a president. So, in my mind, I know that the coalition will have a rough time to succeed. But they have to be very careful. They have to warn them. They have to be. So, all this concern that we are raising is not because we are member of any of their party, but because it's our responsibility to make sure that all the political parties are healthy.
Yes,
so that democracy can fledge and can have good governance.
Absolutely,
and that's the essence.
I agree with you. I agree. You know, the other day when before the Supreme Court gave a ruling on the secretaryship of the PDP between Ude Okoye and Samuel Anyanwu, you know, we were concerned, and even the case of Rivers State, that the president that was a state controlled by the PDP. If the PDP had been a healthy party, they would have been able to resolve.
Work out how to resolve it.
Look at the crisis that happened in the Lagos State House of Assembly. The APC, as the ruling party, was able to call all the gladiators, and everything, you know, was resolved amicably.
As sensitive as it is.
Yes. So I agree with you absolutely that a viral democracy requires the critical ingredient of viral political parties. When political parties become one-man business or about one man's interest, or only about when they are, because when the APC unseated the PDP in power, the APC was the opposition. They were not at the center. But since the APC has dislodged the PDP from the center, it's like because of the lack of accessibility to resources, PDP is sinking.
They are now in tatters.
They are now in tatters.
Just because they don't have access to our national commerce.
Yes, so I think that is a wake-up call to...
And that's a very bad motivation.
It's a very, very bad one. You can see that again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go on a short break. You are still watching the conversation coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are still watching the Conversation Committee from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name remains Nesina Kujimi, and I still have with me in the studio, Comrade Razak Kolade Olokoba. Comrade Olokoba, thank you for staying with us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, in this, we want to quickly look at, we want to go into sports. And it is the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, the African qualifiers that we are going into. Nigeria, your Nigeria, our Nigeria, some hours ago, faltered in the 2026 World Cup qualification bid. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted by 3 countries, USA, Canada, and Mexico. And the Super Eagles, who showed class, maybe about 96 to 120 hours ago in defeating Rwanda 2 goals, to 0 in Kigali. Just some hours ago, faltered in their bid to qualify for 2026 World Cup by playing a 1-1 score draw with Zimbabwe right here in Nigeria. And ever since this match took place, a lot of people have written off these Eagles' chances of qualifying. And for me, it brings to fore the question again that I've always asked. What is really the problem with the Nigeria's senior national team? Is it about players or about the technical crew? We had a Genetra. We had a Passero. We had an Augustine Eguavoin. We had a Finidi George. Then we had a Eric Chelle.
Well, the way I feel about watching Nigerian football, if that's actually you feel when you're watching other matches, I feel for football lovers. Because I don't watch football. When it comes to Nigerian football, I don't joke with it. You have to go to World Cup. If I don't go to World Cup, it's going to really depress me. So,
how do we go to the? How do we qualify now? With the present situation we are in?
You see, let's just get crashed and go. But the deficiency in all the institutions in Nigeria, you can't leave football out of it. Mm-hmm. Look at the recruitment process. It's just coincidence that we always get good players. So the recruitment process is always faulty. You bring the coaching orderly, and you expect him to perform wonders. I know football. You guys are so impatient. If you win, you are like a Nigerian politician. If you win, the coach is a good guy. No, if we lose like this, the coach is in trouble.
No, Kolomelo, you see,
I go to Manchester, okay, and at times I go to the stadium to watch football. Not to go and watch football for my own. And I will see football lovers outside. They don't watch football. They just want to hear their match are flawed. Then they start causing chaos, hooliganism. So that attitude is still number one. Then the Nigerian attitude is also part of the contribution to why we don't do well.
What is the Nigerian attitude?
The board itself,
NFF
board are not doing a good job at all.
In what way?
They have to give the coach a breathing space to perform.
Do you think they are muzzling the coach?
Yes, because the coach must dominate his players. He must try to, not with one match. Friendly can be friendly. The spirit in playing friendly is different from when it's a real match.
Of course.
So you won't understand the rating of a player with a friendly until it gets to the real competition. And real competition, I'm a sport person. I'm a black belt in karate. So when I'm doing combat with my teammates, it's different when we are going for medals. The spirit of going for medal is always different. But when we go to national matches, when we sustain injuries, is that an assurance that when I come back home, are you going to fend for me? Payment of these allowances. Then kickbacks. Except like important players like Osimhen. And they still find a way of harassing him to out of it. So the rot in other institutions is still there. Until such a time that we have to inject patriotism in NFF. That this thing is not about the benefit that is going to accrue to you is about, because for me, I can't be the coach. Patriotism, and which is the motivation factor in other countries. It's not the money that Ronaldo is go and play for his country. The other popular guy too,
Messi.
It's not Messi. Money, it's the patriotism. We stopped the civil war because of Pele. We stopped the civil war because Mehmet Ali is coming here. So the way our blood rises, if that's the way the blood of the NFF is rising, we'll be watching match. They will give the coach a breathing space. The coach that allows for negotiations. In most cases, what they bring to us.
Well, Comrade Lokoba, I don't have these facts that you are tabling on this program.
With all the things that players are saying about them.
No, just hold on. Just hold on. For me, I have, since in the last 24 hours, in fact, I didn't sleep well. Let me confess to you. When I woke up in the middle of the night, I was asking myself, what is troubling my mind? What is that challenge I have? I realized that it was the hangover.
That's the addiction
the fear of not qualifying for the 2020.
That's the addiction I see in Manchester with football for supporters.
Yeah, the fear of not qualifying, because we lost out we didn't qualify for 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Now 2026 is here. You see, for me, I have looked at it and I've come to realize that the problem we have are multifaceted.
Yes.
I agree with you. But most importantly, I think the NFF, majorly, needs to change the approach of bringing in all our foreign-based players. Because when these foreign-based players come to play at home, only few of them you see exhibit that spirit of seriousness.
Yes.
A lot of them, when they come to play for the national, they are playing as if they are doing us a favor.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be. There are lots of, they feel they are made. If you know you are made, please call it quits. Don't come to play for the national team. Because watching that match yesterday, Zimbabwe at home, I watched Ghana versus, Ghana played one of the African countries recently. And Ghana went there and defeated them by 3-0. So looking at the Nigerian team, the type of spirit they have invoked in us with the victory in Kigali, one had expected a whitewash of the Zimbabwe senior national team. Only for us, I know of some players in that national team. I've said it repeatedly to people around me, that if I'm in charge of the national, these guys will never come. Because these are guys who are more interested in their own selfish interests
like
when they are playing.
NFF needs to set the standard.
So
and it's not an
over-reliance on foreign-based players. We should stop it.
We have to set a standard, but it's the fans that calls for foreign base at times. You know, the fans can be funny.
No, the coach is also
the local that you want to call. The fans will be calling for. You see, the fans are difficult to manage when it comes to football.
In management,
very difficult to manage.
The buck stops on the table of the leader.
And see the way football fans react at times. Esomaka was shot when they lost.
The coach of Juventus, a former player, Thiago Motta, has just been sacked. In football or sports, it's the job of being hired and fired.
Yes, we are not doing well.
So you should be be ready to take decisions, knowing that if it goes wrong, you bear the consequence. And so for me, because I've had that experience.
Let's go back to NFSS. Look at the agreements signed by most coaches. It's always very porous.
I don't know the agreement. I've not seen it.
And the coach always move around with his passport. Giving the kind of agreement, it's not secured at all. Go and look at.
But we had
except Western Oof and Honor.
Manfred Honor.
That had good relationship with us, they have always left in bad shape. Are we that bad? It's the NFF. So they need to change their style. It's if let's take time to build a team. Like we have said, if you already bring these boys together, they can't connect. So let's take a decision now. We might miss this World Cup, but let's take a decision now that and you take care of them, even if they are going to collect the kind of money they collect in their club. But at least you pay for their fare. The food they will eat until they will go back, you must pay for it. But
of course, that's what we
do. When they come,
No, when houses them in a
and
hotel.
it became a tug of war.
No.
The little spend you are supposed to give them.
No.
Have you not heard of instances?
We've had instances of
there were match boycotts.
We've had instances of disagreement over money. Yes. But I can tell you for free, Comrade Olokoba, whenever the national team is playing and a player arrives, they are housed in hotel by the NFF. Whether their transport fare is paid immediately.
Another allowances are paid.
I can't vouch for that.
So as little as it is, let's do that. Then set a minimum time that between so we want to build. Look, the young boys are doing well because they catch them young and they have them around for a long time. They connect with each other and they bring trophies. Oh, as long as we continue in this manner, we may not go far. That's one. Then lastly, the politics in football, we are also missing it. It's not about your player being good though. It's also about networking, which is beyond the field at times. The referee that is not racist. The referee.
No, this is African. This is between African countries. There's no racism there now.
There are referees that assume that Nigerian player has always been very pampered. So these are areas that we don't
those look are at. Human biases.
Yes. And if we are not spending enough time in FF, you won't know it. So when they bring such matters up to the public, people will dismiss it. Countries don't just win. Even many good football nations, they don't kowtow to certain things. They get decimated in a way. So we must also be part of that politics that they are playing. They have taken decisions at that level that for some time now, it's not the time of Africa to become a world champion in the senior league. It is the time they want to give us most beautiful women in Nigeria that we will always win though. If it's not. So the rotation, they will do everything. They may have to rotate you to Africa this time too. It's an angle we are dismissing.
I don't want to dismiss the angle you are coming from, but I can tell you for free that the performance of the Super Eagles in the match against in the 2020.
I know many people would not sleep well inside.
Qualifier against Zimbabwe was very, very disappointing.
Many followers would not sleep yesterday.
I'm even as I speak to you right now, I'm yet to recover from that that shock that we might. It is very, very high. I
know you're not exaggerating. I know that's what football is to many people.
Yeah, we are not qualified for the 2026 World Cup. Well, that is where we want to call it a wrap on the conversation today. We've had a beautiful conversation. Myself, Nasina Kujimi, and Comrade Razak Olokoba. Thank you for coming onto the program.
I do appreciate for calling.
Thank you very much. Till we come away again next time, please continue to watch the conversation from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. Have a great day and bye-bye.
Even though it is considered that we have a so-called disability, we really are able persons with different abilities.
For society and development to be included of persons with disabilities, we need to have equal access to education and to knowledge and information. Yet, out of millions of publications each year, fewer than 5% are made available in accessible formats for visually impaired persons. In developing countries, an even smaller percentage of publications are available in accessible formats. The Marrakesh Treaty, as it is called, will greatly expand the availability of artistic and literary works in accessible forms, such as Braille, large print text, and audiobooks. This can make a real difference in the lives of the world's more than 300 million visually impaired persons.
At the end of the day, we must come together and make however and where we are in the world be a place of unification, because me being blind visually doesn't mean that I have to be blind spiritually. And someone being sighted doesn't mean that they should be blind of those things in the world that we need to fix. We have to have inclusion. Let us not become handicapped again, blind to the issues and the problems of those in need.
risque de planter des arbres. Ça me plaît beaucoup. Ici, c'était un dépotoir d'ordures ménagères. Du fait que les villageois ne savaient pas qu'est-ce que c'est que l'importance de la forêt, ils prenaient leurs ordures et les déposaient. En ce moment, je leur ai sensibilisé de leur dire que l'arbre doit vivre comme nous, donc il ne faut pas salir l'arbre. C'est ce que nous a donné l'impact positif pour avoir ici un périmètre pour cultiver. Le 2 mai 2005, on a allé voir les eaux et forêts qui nous ont attribué 500 mètres carrés. On a initié, intégré les femmes dans un AGR. Et avec ça, on a choisi le maraîchage. On était à 3 hectares, mais on ne cultive pas sous la haute tension. Et on nous a déguerpi et on est à 2 hectares.
Si on fait travailler ces femmes dans cette forêt, c'est pour qu'elles prennent également soin de cette forêt. Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement à travers la vente de fruits.
Tous les arbres fruitiers que vous voyez, c'est nous qui l'avons planté. Chaque citronnier, on y récoltait plus de 60 kilos.
Merci beaucoup. Que ce sont des dames très dynamiques, des dames très braves, qui subissent de plein fouet les effets des changements climatiques. Nous, on vient en rescousse pour informer, pour sensibiliser sur des solutions, la promotion de bonnes pratiques. Pour les cas pires, c'est également l'apparition de nouveaux parasites. Et ça, on le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaye de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui le reboisement massif dans les périmètres maraîchers avec des espèces qui sont répulseurs aussi.
Notre projet d'avenir, si les femmes l'acceptent, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les alvéoles pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais écoféministes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt, c'est nous et nous, c'est la forêt.
Right in the middle of this forest in southwest Ogun State and inside the buildings below, a young generation of farmers in Nigeria is changing the face of farming and attracting young people to a venture many of them had not always liked. And 36-year-old Peter Okocha Jr., or PJ as he's fondly called, is leading the change. An economist by training before branching off into farming, PJ and his team are deploying a unique method of farming known as aeroponics to grow cash crops, starting out here in August of 2017.
What's taking place is that you're seeing agricultural technology. It's a disruptive form of technology. It's called aeroponics, whereby the plants are grown in a soilless medium. Essentially, there's no soil, and the roots of the plants, which are underneath these boxes, are being misted with nutrients and so forth. So everything is within a controlled environment, and it's fully automated as well.
Their focal crop is yam, a very popular edible starchy tuber mainly cultivated in Africa and exported across the world.
So the yam subsector of the overall agricultural sector, it's a very lucrative sector. But the problem is that the requisite inputs haven't been applied. And so what we're doing in this program is saying that, okay, we know that there's a sector that currently has a value, according to the Food and Agricultural Organization based in Rome, of about $13 billion US. But with the requisite inputs, the yam subsector will grow from $13 billion to about $19 billion. And this is Nigeria alone. So what we've said is that, okay, we know also that Nigeria accounts for 60% of the global production of yam, but yet we don't have inputs such as seed. And as you know, seeds, or the lab and the seed essentially is the genesis of the agricultural sector. So what we're doing is that in conjunction with IITA, we get clean seeds, essentially from IITA, from the lab, and then we come and we transplant to the system here.
The system is a greenhouse where the yam seeds are grown in this row of boxes using aeroponics, more like growing yams in the air. Now just take a look at these leaves. Every leaf you see here is a potential tuber of yam. So to get a sense of how many tubers of yam we have here, you just have to do a count of all the leaves we have here. It's something very massive.
We have about 10 boxes, and in those boxes, all fully automated aeroponic systems, and it leads to high propagation of plants. And so we're actually massively propagating, and it will continue like this for a 3-year period of just continuous growth, non-stop. After the propagation, what you'll see is that it will essentially form a canopy, very bush-like and so forth. And from there, we'll start vine cutting. And from the vine cutting, we'll cut these, we'll put them into essentially polyethylene bags and with a nutrient solution, and they'll stay in there for about a month. And essentially what it is that because this is in a controlled environment, we're taking them out and saying, okay, we're preparing you for a month to get used to the external elements, and they'll be there for a month, and then we eventually take them to the field.
This is the field where they are brought and planted into the soil so the seeds could develop fully.
These right now currently have been here for about 3 weeks, and we're still planting now, and they'll be here for a total of about 3 months. And after about 3 months, we'll get seeds of about 250 to about 500 grams. And those are the seeds that we'll provide to farmers. And farmers can then go and plant directly, and this will give them the ware yam sizes of 1 kg, 2 kg and above.
One of the smallholder farmers who's been using the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm is Awofe Ademola. He's been into traditional yam farming all his adult life and says the yam seeds from the aeroponics farm have seen his output more than double and safe from pests.
There's a lot of difference between the two methods because the new method doesn't get infected by pests and it doesn't change color like the traditional planted yams. It will remain fresh as it is wherever it is kept. Their yam when harvested is almost 3 times or 4 times more than ours. When we plant one of our own seed yam, it equates to 4 of theirs.
Habibat Umar is the only female in the group. She's one of those overseeing the day-to-day running of the smart farm. She says she's fascinated by the whole idea of it.
One of the things that fascinates me most is the fact that we can go all year round producing food, more like you can choose God's creation and having to depend on the rain and all. And everybody wants to eat all the time. You don't want to wait for when the rain is here. And so the fact that we can provide the food all year round, it's everything to me.
Even though all may seem fine, PJ and his team are battling familiar challenges to keep their operations running.
More attention needs to be given to the sector. There needs to be more financing put in place. We need to have adequate land laws in place and to ensure that we can optimize all the arable land that we have and so forth. There needs to be insurance. We need to have better road networks. Power is a major impediment as well. Essentially we have our own solar system, as well as the fact that we also have a generator as well for backup. So power cost is also a major impediment as well. So all of these things, if we can put all these things in place, then the sector will boom for sure.
PJ and his team are setting themselves up as role models for young people. In a country where youth unemployment is high, they are hoping to inspire many within their age bracket to take to their kind of farming technique.
We need women to even join this chain, because this is not all about, we've gone past the stage of waiting for men doing it. So why wouldn't I want to be part of it? Let people say, oh, she's a woman, she's doing it. Do you understand? So women have to join this chain.
My message for the youth is saying that, listen, with the use of technology and disruptive methods such as this, essentially you can run your farm on your laptop, on your computer and so forth and everything. I mean, it's all automated. So essentially this makes agriculture cool. It makes agriculture sexy. I mean, you have the technological components to it and so forth and everything. So it's not just the conventional, back-breaking work in the field and so forth and everything like that. There are also these components as well that will make it appealing to the youth. So I say, listen, join me. We have a nation to feed and we have a nation to grow as well.
Well, I didn't know on time because I only knew that she found it difficult to read, and even when she started school, although I thought I was part of the reasons why she could not catch up with her mates, because I was actually I move around a lot. So when I moved, she has to change school. So I was thinking that maybe that was the problem. But I actually found out later that even when I got her good teachers, the normal set of school teachers, I found out that she still finds it difficult. She's actually brilliant, very, very brilliant. But when it comes to book, she finds it difficult to read.
My name is Mrs. Uchenna Ahanotu, the director of Nene Special Education Center. I'm an educational psychologist, currently pursuing my doctorate degree in educational psychology from Imo State University. My dream had been always to help students to excel in their academics. So my dream had always been for gifted students. But then I now started coming across children with learning disabilities, and I found out that they were not getting the support they need. So I was helping them in my little way, one-on-one, until it now came to my doorpost. I got reports from the school that my daughter would be repeating class, primary 1. I was like, why? And they said she's not meeting up. This is a girl that is normally intelligent. You know she knows everything, but they said she couldn't read. So, as an educational psychologist, I now had to go back to my books because I had packed my books. I went back to my books to study, and now found out that there is something called dyslexia, and not just dyslexia, there were other neurological disorders. There was autism, there was ADHD, there was all those cerebral palsy. All of them are linked together. So that was how I started focusing on children with learning disabilities. I was going from school to help them, but then 2 times a week, 2 hours a day is not enough. It wasn't giving us the results we wanted. So we now had to open the center, and I told the parents, if you want an intensive program for your child, you could enroll him or her here. When she has developed to a certain stage, she can now go back to mainstream school. That was how Learning Center started.
High five. A sound. B sound. C sound.
The thing is, when a child is not performing well in school, and you know you have tried all you can, you've given the necessary intervention, lesson teacher, good books, and all that, and she's still performing low, I think it's time to diagnose her. As a psychologist, we when a child comes to our center, we diagnose the child first to know the specific area of challenge. And that's why we're able to now diagnose, say this is dyslexia, this is dyscalculia, this is ADHD, this is autism. It can become comorbid with speech delay, whatever it is. So diagnosis is what we do first. When we diagnose, we can now draw up an education plan for the child. All our children have their own education plan because a child with dyslexia is not at the same pace with another child with dyslexia. So we do one-on-one therapy, we do one-on-one teaching for them, meeting them at their various points of need, and then they come up. So that's basically the strategy, identifying the specific disadvantage and then tackling it individually, not as a class. My staff and I, we go for professional training. We go for courses mainly online.
Okay, this is actually a timer. This is a timer we use for their section. So each section for a child, because of children with autism, most times they are diagnosed with ADHD, that's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So it's difficult for you to treat them in a normal class and take a long time with them. So we time our sections with them. For each section for a child, we have 15 minutes. So I put on my timer for 15 minutes. So I know that at the end of 15 minutes, the child knows he's done. You see them standing up sometimes because they're like, just want to get up and leave. So it helps us to time them and get the best results.
Challenges. Well, sometimes I want them to, like, you're teaching the child something, other child you can easily pick up, but you have to keep consistently going over it day by day and all, and it's like seeing as if you're not getting a result. Or when you're trying to keep kids with ADHD, getting them to sit still while you're teaching them, it's can be very, very tasking. And also, sometimes they just don't want to learn. It's sometimes like that.
She has improved a lot compared to what she was then, because she was having low self-esteem, and then, but here they kind of, brought our confidence up. Our confidence level is a lot high, and even if you are not careful, you won't even know that she has that condition again. So I'm actually happy with my experience with Nene Special Center.
Well, it's been quite encouraging. It's been good. It's been a lovely experience. Jaden, my son, couldn't do some things not until he started with the speech school. He couldn't feed himself. He couldn't identify letters. He couldn't identify numbers, but his hearing was perfectly well and is still fine. He hears very, very well, but he couldn't identify some things. But right now, he can identify, he can make sounds, and the rest of them. So I'm impressed.
Before, she won't even try to pronounce, as in, if the word is difficult, she just jumps it to the next word. But now she's trying to, and then she has improved in her reading. She has improved in her self-esteem. I don't know, psychologically, she has improved.
We started last year, 2022, with the few students I had. So this year, we plan to go more social media and then reach out to schools, primary schools in particular, to inform the headmistresses, the proprietors, that there is a diagnostic center where they can diagnose a child's learning challenge, because most of them are harbored in these schools, but the teachers are confused. They just think maybe the child doesn't want to read. So we want to tell them there's a center where they can diagnose the child's disability, and then we can also help them to tackle the challenge. So our aim is just the proprietors, and then through social media, we reach out to parents that are worried about their child's development.
I want to ask every parent that when you observe that kind of situation with your child, you should seek. Don't just assume, because some secular schools, they don't really look out for
these conditions in children. They just assume that the child is poor or the child is dull. They don't have provision for that in most schools. So, and then such child will have low self-esteem, and it will look like they cannot do anything, or they look inferior to their peers.
Clap yourself, clap yourself.
As I said, we started exactly May last year. So this is just 1 year, and we have had a total of 12 kids, about 12, 13 kids. And some of them are still on now.
Well, I must say it has been an amazing one. It has really been amazing. I get to meet wonderful kids every day. Yes, I see them and I'm like, God, these kids are just wonderful, because the world might not see them in that way, but meeting them every day has been like a blessing to me. Being able to interact with kids, it has been great.
My advice to parents that they should find out and keep a close eye on their child. Try to find out about their disabilities earlier in life, so that it will reduce the amount of time that we have to teach them.
Early detection matters. If your child is delaying, just come and find out if it's disorder or delay. We will tell you. If it's delay, we'll just tell you to go. With time, he will talk. But if it's disorder, you have to start immediately to intervene to help the child. Please find a good learning environment for your child. Find a center that understands their challenge and they'll be able to tackle their challenge with the right resources and with the right frame of mind. It's not a flogging issue. They need all the love and care they can get, and they also need the professional touch.
Many thanks for joining us on the newsroom. I'm Tamilore Akinkolye, and these are the stories we're following at the moment. Presidential aide Bayo Onanuga has faulted recent claims by outgoing African Development Bank President Akinwumi Adesina that Nigerians are worse off today than they were in 1960, describing the assertion as based on figures that do not align with available data. In a post on X, Bayo Onanuga argued that Adesina's comparison of Nigeria's GDP per capita in 1960 and 2025 was flawed and misleading. Onanuga further noted that Nigeria's economic growth only began to rise significantly in the 1970s due to oil revenue. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to meet with the leadership of Nigeria's power generating companies as part of an emergency effort to address the 4 trillion naira debt threatening to cripple the country's electricity supply chain. The move follows a high-level meeting between the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, and Chairman of GENCOs in Abuja amid mounting fears of a possible collapse of the national grid due to liquidity constraints in the sector, according to a statement from the Power Ministry on Sunday. And the Nigeria Education Loan Fund (NEL) Fund has insisted that no money is missing from the student loan scheme, despite claims to the contrary. A recent report had alleged that some schools were diverting money meant for the scheme operated by NEL Fund, and that prompted the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offence Commission (ICPC) to launch an investigation into the matter. However, NEL Fund's Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Akintunde Sawyer said the fund has a clean bill of health. And the Commissioner of Police in Nasarawa, Shetima Jairo Mohammed, has ordered an investigation into the death of 5 children in the Agayaragu community of Obi local government area of the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer SP Raman Nansel disclosed this on Monday in Lafia. Now said explained that the lifeless bodies of the children were found inside an abandoned and unserviced vehicle parked at the residence of one Mr. Abu Agiyemi. The commissioner has ordered a thorough investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident. And the World Bank has advised the federal government to implement reforms to protect the country's poorest against rising inflation. The bank also advised the government to boost the livelihoods of all Nigerians through more productive work, which is said is key to reversing high poverty levels. The World Bank stated this in its latest April 2025 Poverty and Equity Brief for Nigeria, which was obtained on Monday. The bank had earlier last month in its Africa Plus report declared that more Nigerians would become poor over the next 5 years, citing Nigeria's structural economic weaknesses, dependence on oil revenues, and national fragility as key barriers to meaningful poverty reduction. And on the global scene, Turkey's annual inflation rate slowed in April for the 11th month in a row. Official data has showed Turkey has experienced double-digit inflation since 2019, making life increasingly more expensive for millions of people. Turkey's annual inflation exceeded 75% in May 2024 before starting to slow down in June. And finally, on sport, Liverpool vice-captain Trent Alexander-Arnold has confirmed that he will leave the club at the end of the season, bringing an emotional 20 years association with his boyhood team to an end. In a statement on Monday via X, Trent described the decision as the most difficult decision of his life. Reflecting on his time at Anfield, Alexander-Arnold paid tribute to everyone at the club and his supporters. And those are the stories we're following at the moment. Do join us at the top of the hour for more stories.
Cut. All right. What's your name again? Kemi? Yes, sir. Good. Are you ready for us for next week?
Yes, sir.
Next.
Go on, sir.
If the essence of government is the security and welfare of the people, then as long as there's plenty, poverty is evil. Affluent poverty. That's what we live in Nigeria. We're living in affluent poverty. The news recently broke that a British international primary school, Charterhouse, located somewhere in Lekki, Lagos, was charging as much as 42 million per annum as school fees for its pupil in a poor country like ours. However, the school management issued a statement clarifying the claim that the school fees are currently 26 million naira per annum and not 42 million. Oh boy, now wow. 26 million as school fees per annum for Pekin when they primary school in a poor country like Nigeria, where many states can't even pay 30,000 naira as minimum wage. And many of our public schools in the country are public slums. And unemployment rate is frightening as fraud is now celebrated as a profession. 26 million. Well, I know some of you who will go to defend them now. They say, if education is expensive, try ignorance. And others will say, well, it's the school is attended by expatriate, kids of expatriate. Even at that, maybe for Nigeria that they make the money, whether they pay the expatriate salary, must education be beyond the poor in a country like Nigeria, where ostentatious lifestyle is the attitude of government? So if you pay 26 million naira for a kid in primary school, that means you go pay 62 million naira for that kid in secondary school. And maybe 112 million for the same child when he enter university. And then the child will graduate, there won't be jobs. And then you send the child abroad. Is that not overhead? Go to countries like Poland, Germany, Czech Republic. Charles University and the University of Warsaw are some of the cheapest universities where top-tier programs are offered at an affordable rate. Although universities in all the Nordic countries are relatively affordable, but public universities in Norway remain free for everybody from both within and outside the EU, with the exception of a few specialized programs. But here in Nigeria, go to Edo University in Iyamo. It is ranked as the most expensive state-owned university in Nigeria. Yet, the other state university, Edo State University in Ekpoma, under the previous administration of Godwin Obaseki, suffered from lack of infrastructure and adequate funding until the recent administration in Edo. So what that means is simply this: rich separated themselves from the poor. Now, wow. How many people still remember, the craze those days about British International School? But with the current school fees of 4.6 million and 6.8 million, for boarding, I guess the super rich now, when they pay 26 million as school fees of primary school children, would think, oh, that's poor. So came Charterhouse, and yet government go look the other way in a poor country. We know job despite the expensive school, and you expect people not to steal? Yeah, well, what am I even saying? What can government do? When even Nile University in Abuja, where most of our government officials and Abuja politicians, they go get their degree, especially in law, no come cheap. And even some churches, when collect tithe and offering from members to build schools, most of these members that contributed the tithe and offering cannot afford to send their children to these schools. So what do you expect? Even recently, remember Wigwe University in Isiokpo in Rivers State was in the news, not for the death of its founder, but as the most expensive university in Nigeria, with school fees ranging from 12 million naira. And some of these fees are priced in dollars. And our government is pretending to be looking for solution to our dollar problem, while they turn a blind eye to this open segregation in a country where our collective welfare is supposed to be their responsibility. Oh boy, to your tent, oh Israel. You won't blame them though. Don't you see how we openly spray monies in parties as if money is going out of faction? So that's why they think we are rich. Yet, there are no roads to our villages and insecurity is ravaging the country. Even as our public officials drive around our dilapidated road and public slums in exotic and expensive cars, the cars will neither produce nor assemble here. Yet, with retinue of aides and barrage of mobile police, where the future generations are either emerged in prostitution, hookup, or fraud, I beg no verse, yahoo, as a means of livelihood. Outrageous display of affluent poverty, you would say. This is the reason why some properties without any special infrastructure around them in some area, with some area never get road, apart from the fact that there's so much money to waste, are so expensive and priced in dollars in places like Maitama, Sokoro, and environs in Abuja, and Banana Island, and in some places in Lagos, in a poor country like Nigeria, than properties in Miami waterfront in rich America. So no matter how much we all condemn or criticize these things, it will not go away, because the reality is that most Nigerians want to be like these people who are physically rich but mentally poor. As we only criticize them when we are poor, but the moment we become rich or hold public office, we will create segregation, poor and the rich. We move over to expensive slums like Lekki, send our children to special schools, meant only for the rich, occupy government positions and steal public funds, ride expensive cars without identifiable or sustainable means of livelihood, and display wealth irresponsibly and spray endlessly at parties. That's just our life. So, go stop. So if I lie, anyway, check those occupying public offices today. Between 15 and 12 years ago, they were mostly critics of the attitude of the government then. But today, they are all in government and repeating exactly what they once criticized, even if not even worse. So I will therefore advocate, until we see government as a vehicle for public good, social justice, creating job opportunities, infrastructural development, equality, and a vehicle for impacting our community positively, people will continue to chase wealth, material possession, and position as a way of life and end up not living at all. Government must take job creation as a priority and endeavor to consciously and consensuously celebrate and compensate hard work, and create regulation in every sector to avoid a society of wealth without work. The attitude where government officials are at the forefront of displaying affluence in the midst of poverty must be discouraged, as it pushes people to acquire wealth without work. Lastly, our orientation should help improve our mindset to the fact that voluntary and selfless service helps write our name in gold in the sand of time. That even when we die, our name will be so engraved in the heart of the world that time will never erase it. Well, I don't want to talk too much. Make I pause and here to enable you make your own contribution in all our social media platforms shown on your screen. Also help us to share the message so that we can collectively change our society. For no matter how expensive education is, without commensurate effort to promote and create job opportunities, you will still end up as poor. No be me talker. Remember, the luxuries of today are the necessities of tomorrow. See you next week.
da kamar ina da tare da waya ta ma za ku ga hamada saboda ni na dauka waya kuma yi ne kamar yanzu kamar ana mutai ina cikin bidiyo na gargajiya ko ka tona hamada gurin kiwon ma babu gonakan ka babu ma maganan gonakai duk inda muke da gonakai gurin sahara ya ce gurin kiwo sahara ya ce kuma taku da kanka ma kana tafiya wallahi kana sai ka yi kana tafiya wani gangare ka shiga ko ka dan ka sai ya tafi da kana tona ma ba za ka kama shi karuwa yake ba an ce akwai ma'aikatan ma
Farmers and herders in Nigeria used to enjoy relative peace as they interacted with each other. That is no longer the case. It is estimated that between 2016 and 2018, over 3,600 lives were lost to the crisis between the two groups. In the first half of 2018, about 300,000 people became displaced for the same reason. Northwestern and North Central Nigeria have notably been the heart of this violence. But the crisis is spreading fast to other parts of the country, including the South. Several factors have been identified for the wave of bloodshed: rapidly increasing population figures, rapidly dwindling resources, which both groups rely on. Also, the pattern of migration of the traditionally nomadic Fulani cattle rearers has been changing. This is due to rising insecurity, improvements in veterinary medicine, hostility from locals and state governments, and a bunch of environmental factors including climate change, desertification, loss of vegetation, and water scarcity. In Yobe, northeast Nigeria, the relationship between the scarcity of natural resources and increased violence is obvious. From the encroachment of the Sahara Desert to the shrinking of the Hadejia Nguru wetlands.
ina magana akan yanayin mutuwar dabbobinmu lokacin yunwa. Misali, idan rani ya ja lokaci kafin faduwar damuna, dab da faduwar damuna, ciyawa ta kan yanke.
Wato matsalar da muke samu na takwarawa hamada. Mu dai faru lokacin gama in particular daga Fulani gabar da nan kenan da muke zo ne har zuwa Gumsi ita ce su lokacin gama. Kuma jajin bayan da dai abubuwan da kuke gani a nan yanzu a ƙasa ta kusa kan jari hamada ta riga ta cika cikin lokacin gama. Ta yi nisa ta ci sosai. Ba mu san dai kuma abin da zai biyo baya ba amma ɓangaren gwamnati dai.
The challenge of climate change and the consequences of climate change on the environment, especially when you look closely at environmental degradation and the competition for resources, in this instance specifically for land and water, has in several instances generated conflict. There is virtually no part of the northwest, not to an extent north central, and then northeast that you go to that you don't see receding water bodies, and how this is having a huge impact on the socio-economic well-being of and livelihoods of the people in those communities. And so the likelihood of migration from the core northern states into some parts of southern Nigeria is something that is real.
Zakari, a village in Yusufari, northern Yobe State, lies on the fringes of the Sahara Desert. About 50 years ago, it was like any other arid northeast Nigerian community, with decent vegetation, a smooth road network, sun-baked mud buildings, and a great many people who had lived there for generations. Now it is just miles and miles of sand dunes. Desert encroachment has pushed out the majority of the residents, many of them herders. Malam Musa is one of many herders in Gaidam who have now resettled in the Song area of Adamawa.
Sani wanda ya yi sanadiyan barin su yankin nan?
Akwai.
Na je kai kaman gidaje nawa ko rugaje nawa ko mutane nawa za ka gaba kayyana?
Kai kamar 100.
Wato wanda suka bar nan wajen.
Take kaɗan ɗin.
A sanadiyan wannan. To ya kuke fama da baki?
Around January, February, you hardly see anything in the place that an animal will browse or take as a food. And there's no water even to drink. So this is one of the factors that will make them to come southwards. If they move southwards for water and for grazing the dry grasses. Definitely the desert encroachment is one of the factors that is concentrating the animal into a place and making the clashes between farmers and herders more frequent, more often. Had it been that in the area that is encroached by desert, there is grasses and water for them to, they may not be there. They don't have to move. But now it's necessary that they must come southward as the dry season is approaching. They must come southward in search of little pasture and drinking water. While if the During the rainy season approach, they go north. Since there may be water and little grasses for them to graze.
The problem with desert encroachment is not going to stop anytime soon. According to one estimate, the sand dunes shift towards the south at a rate of 30 hectares each year, putting 11 states in northern Nigeria at risk of desertification. More cattle rearers in these places are moving elsewhere due to the combination of factors: insecurity, drought, desertification, and the need for water.
ruwan ba irin na ba saboda ruwan kowa ya ji fadama bai sha ruwa ba gashi kuma ga gurare gonaki ko ina fili ya kare ba gurin yau to shi ne makayayan da suka zo ga lamirin mu anan mun yi da mu da su akan mu kore su muka yi mu kore su abun ya gagare mu muka gaya wa lawanin mu shi ma ya yi dan abun da bakin kokarin sa abun ya gagari mun gaya wa hakimi ma duk kowa ya san da ba kuma ba din nan ba daga wani guri suke ba daga jiga.
The migration of herders to new places tends to lead to clashes or aggravate existing conflicts because of competition over insufficient land and water resources.
Ina tafiya suna tare ni da kibiya suna jifa na ni ina so in tafi gurin yara can su kuma suna gefen nan gefen kudu haka su yaran suna gabar ni ina tafiya gun su gabar su kuma suna gefe na
yaran da suke aikin
shinkafa
kai kana so ka iso wajen su
su kuma wannan
shan makiyaya kuma sai suka zargu
a cikin gona
sai suka zargu suka fara harbi
sai suka kama harbi suna harbi na suna jifa ni ban sani ba ma ni da na gani haka dai ina gani suna yin haka dai da abin su suna jifa amma kibiyan bai zo ya same ni ba ban gani ba ma ashe wai su harbi suke sai na fasa tafiya gun yara sai na tafi gun yara fulani din to ina tafiya ɗayan yana yin harbin sa ashe kibiyarsa ya ƙare da ya gani na kusa zuwa gunsa sai dan uwansa sai ya jefa masa addansa shi wani yana da kibiya shi zai gudu kenan sai ya jefa wannan da ba zai gudu ba sai ya jefa masa adda kawai yaron nan kawai sai ya tafi da gudu sai ya fita da gudu ya zo ya same ni ya doka mu adda? Da itace a hannuna na ɗauka na masu buge shinkafa ya yanke itacen kuma ya yanke hannu hannun yanzu haka babu yanzu fakin ne aka ce za a yi ba zai zama hannu ba
shi ne wannan kibiya ɗan kibiyan kenan?
shi lokacin da ya tsare da adda na faɗi
kamar shekara 5 a bangaren noma din gaskiya ba mu da matsala da su amma daga shekara 2 zuwa 3 din abubuwan suka ƙara lalacewa kuma karanci ruwa shi ya kawo inda ruwan ya zo an zuba da shankafa wani guri ya hau wani guri bai hau ba to dalilin wannan su ne dama wanda fulani suka samu rashin ruwan shi ya kawo su suka shiga ka zauna kuma abinda sauran shankafan masu ma rashin kiyawa da miyadin suka shiga shinkawa mutane suna ci an hana su abin muhimmi da ya fi karfin mu gaskiya mu na maguru.
In Nguru, about 100 kilometers west of Yusufari, is a section of the Hadija Nguru wetlands. For many years, the waterlogged fields and rivers in the area have sustained the livelihoods of millions of farmers, herders, and fishermen. but the water is starting to recede. Harvests, especially for rice farmers, have dropped significantly in the past year. They are also facing more problems from herders whose farms before harvest is done.
To gaskiya wannan dai inda dai da ruwan dai hakan duk ba za ta faru da yawa ba. Da rashin ruwan ma kuma da ta'adin da fulani ne duk dai ba wanda za a ce ba.
Kowa ya taka rawa ciki.
Gaskiya ne.
Yanzu a ganin ka me kake gani ya kamata a yi wanda zai iya magance wannan abun? Ita buɗe ruwan ne ko kuma
an da an buɗe ruwa din za a iya samun saukin kan abin. Hanyar ruwa idan ta riga ta gyaru zaman lafiya tsakanin tunda datin ruwa yana zama ba wani matsala tsakanin su. Da can asali din da ruwa yana zaune muna zaune da ruwa daga baya kuma ruwan ya yi karanci zuwa yanzu shekara kamar 12. Da akwai ruwa baya amma zuwa yanzu sosai
ba sa ɗaukan sa kamar wani muhimmanci.
Gona biyu aka ci kowanne a baya ina samun 30. Gona biyu ina samun 60 babu ɗaya kwano ɗaya ban samu kuma na yi yunkuri na ji na gaya ciyama. To our own understanding, the major problems is the absence of coming of the water. That are the reason why we fail to get what we have.
Lack of water.
They are all affected in the land. We have only source of water. If that source bring us water, the whole area farming well and organized. And then if there is no water from that only center we have it, we all lost. And what we understand now, the farmers at Onguru, they have already failed. 70% of our farmers have nothing to farm.
90%.
Have 20% get only rice that have been eaten in their house. And then 10% are those that are gain something from the farming. And even me, I've tried to farm more than 1,000 to 2,000 rice. And my chairman more than 20,000. And the secretary will do more than 25,000 because of he's richer than us. But now, even I don't have even 10 bucks. I'm farming more than 1,000 and I don't have even 10 bucks.
Okay, kana ka dauka
babu sun cinye ne yayi mu ruwa bai shiga ba.
Some footprints of the cows or plants that they've eaten.
Akwai da zamu iya ganin zamu iya daukan hoton
da can waje a
To a tsarin mu na uku kare na ba sai ya jawo na gama da wannan.
The major problem is lack of water. And then the second problem is the coming of the Fulani from somewhere else. And then that Fulani come because of the absence of water.
Three factors have been identified for the water problem: the proliferation of the invasive taifa grass, the construction of dams along water roads supplying the wetlands, such as the Tiga Dam in Kano, and droughts. One other reason for the increased clashes between farmers and herders in Nigeria is the encroachment of grazing roads, reserved for use by pastoralists, by northern lawmakers during the First Republic. These grazing roads and reserves are now being converted into farmlands and other structures. This makes it difficult for herders to move about freely without trespassing, and has repeatedly been used as an excuse.
Burtali nan da abin da ya kama daga nan har zuwa Sudan akwai burtali, amma su manoma duk sun
fakka da shi sun yi shuku da sauransu. Shi yasa su Fulani kai musu magana da wannan suke laɓewa. An kare ma an kashe burtali da sauransu. Mun hakikanin gaskiya yawancin tashin hankali da muke samu a nan akan harkar manoma da makiyaya yawanci duka ba makiya namu na nan bane, daga wani guri ne suke zuwa. Suka zo kuma ba sa tsoron ɓannatar da kayan mutane kuma ba sa tsoron faɗa.
Even though the Nigerian government has kick-started attempts to revisit the grazing routes, experts say this is not the long-lasting solution that is needed.
The era of open grazing, in my honest opinion, is over. Yes, as a temporary measure and to allow for a de-escalation of the current situation that we're in, there may be a need to allow some form of movement, but that movement should be generated towards encouraging ranching and encouraging some more other sophisticated type of livestock rearing.
Unless when this is modernized, this problem of movement from one place to the other, or maybe to get sufficient either meat or milk and cater for the country is being modernized, I don't think we can achieve this our target. One of the problems, as I told you earlier, is that those people that are handling the animals refuse to go to school. They must be educated before they have that thinking that you are saying. Those people that are illiterate, they are all what they knew nothing about apart from the cattle. If you want them to improve what they are doing, how are you going to incorporate that knowledge into their own thinking? It's very difficult. And another problem to my own seeing is that government also is not paying much attention to the cattle rearers. You can hear programs, fertilizer, and what again? Seed. Most of the government programs are targeted towards crop cultivation. You can hardly come across any program that is targeted towards the cattle rearers. You can even hear about the states that are banning open grazing.
mu masu karamin karfi ne abinda muke da shi ga darar mun tattara mun je mun zubar a keji domin wannan in ya fito a shi da mu samu da mu ci mu taimaka yan uwa mu marayu ne to amma babu an riga an cinye yanzu hakan nan haka sidda yanzu haka nan da rigar da zai samu a cikin kwari.
It's been 42 years now since St. Ambrose's Catholic Secondary School was established by the Catholic Church before it was taken over by the government. Several students have passed through the four walls of the school, just as several administrative staff have come and gone. But the one thing that has remained largely unchanged is the infrastructure and teaching facilities in the school. Year by year, things got worse. Classroom buildings began giving way. The classrooms themselves became inconducive for both teaching and learning. Things were literally in an abject state.
We have been managing teaching even when the rain is falling, the rain will be falling inside the classroom. We cannot abandon teaching. At times we mass students together when there is no conducive classroom. During the tenure of the past principal, Mr. Ogunbadejo Fola. So when he came to the school, he discovered that things will not be going on like this. So many classrooms are leaking, some roofs have even off, some buildings are collapsed. The parents are not able to do anything concerning it. So we be folding and then every year, the roofing have been taking away a lot of money. So he now decided to go spiritual by calling upon God. So every Thursday of every month, we used to gather together, spending 30 minutes, calling upon God. So we look for the names of some old students. We got the name from one of the old students called KK. We wrote their name on the pieces of paper. During the prayer time, we raised the name up. God to compel them to come.
Either by divine intervention or mere coincidence, something happened. One of the old students of the school decided to pay a visit. Multiple award-winning journalist Deji Bademosi graduated from the school 26 years ago as the senior prefect of the 1994 set.
I went there to do a story on the dilapidated state of the school. And there's a project we're actually doing, a project that I'm actually doing, known as Track Nigeria, being supported by the MacArthur Foundation. So the whole idea for me initially was to go there and highlight the dilapidated state of the school so that I could call the attention of the government to the situation there and to see if the government could at least come in there to help address the infrastructural problem there. But you know, when I got there, and because that's the school I actually attended myself, I was touched. And you know, I just felt rather than just tell the story and wait for the government to do something, that at least I could do something to help. I was really touched, and I decided, well, that at least we could do some renovation. So the whole idea was, okay, go there, renovate, and that was how it started.
An engineer was contracted to commence work on the site, but little did they know that the structure required more than the planned renovation due to the severity of the damage.
When I got there, all the foundation was already above the ground level, meaning that you can even be seeing the foundation footing already outside exposed, which anything can happen. The building can collapse at any time. After opening the space for the column and the second day, you know, the building is weak already, even with the exposure of the foundation, I said. So one side of the classroom gave way immediately.
the only thing we could do to salvage the situation was to pull down the entire building and, build a new one. And for me, that was something really huge. It was not something that I had actually planned for, considering the cost implication. So I summoned courage and I said, you know what, okay, you guys go ahead, pull the building down, we'll put up a new building.
It was a tough decision, but certainly worth it. The reconstruction officially kicked off in August 2019 under the direct supervision of one of the alumni of the school.
We left here like 26 years ago, and there was no any kind of maintenance since we left. So I supervised the building right from the scratch to where it is today, all to the glory of God.
As the new building started to take shape, it was hard to ignore the remaining dilapidated blocks of classrooms and abandon them to decay.
As one building was getting completed, I looked at the situation again and I felt, well, we can do another one. So I said, you know what, I looked at my pulse and I said, well, maybe I could just try the second one. And then the second one came down, the old building now came down, and we started work on the second one. And then the third one as well, one of the old students there came to me and said, look, supposing I provide blocks for the foundation, and then, build it up to lintel level, would you mind to just take it over from there? And I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. Because I knew it was going to cost a lot of money, but, that was how the third building started. Then there was no plan to have a toilet. The school had no toilet. But then I felt, look, it wouldn't be nice at all to have these new buildings. You have the students there, and then they have no place to go ease themselves, and they have to make use of the bush. Again, I summoned courage, and I said, okay, you know what, let's put up a toilet facility there. And that was how the toilet facility came up. So right there now we have 10 toilets. I then thought, if you have a toilet, how then do you get water to service the toilet? And the school has no borehole. The school has a well that dries up during the dry season. And then, again, not planned for initially. Remember, I started by saying we wanted to do just one building. Not planned for. So I said, okay, let's get the borehole.
After the borehole, then came the landscaping and flooring of the school. As the school continued to get a facelift, it was almost unbelievable for staff and students who watched their wish become a reality.
It's a thing of joy to me. But on a daily basis, when I come to school, I have to look down and see the buildings, which is not common, it's one in town. I was made to know that there is no school that is having this type of building. No school. Is it the restroom? Is it the classroom? Is it the offices? Is it the type of furniture there? It is second to none, I must confess, and I'm very happy. In fact, about 5 teachers called me, sir, how can I get my transfer to your school?
And we start everything together. You understand? The foundation, the building, the roofing, the plastering, the painting, and everything. I was there with them, being one of the host students. By the time our students see what is going on in the school, they were all happy. You understand? By the time we want to do little works there, I have to call them. This is your class. You are going to use this class. So what can you people do for us? And they were happy in helping us. Packing sand, gravel, you know, all these things, little things that they can do with joy. You know, in fact, they were happy doing it for us, being their school. And I believe by the time we are going for new section now, we are going to have more students.
I felt so proud that at least I could contribute in my own little way to this present development. This project is single-handedly done by one person, a God-sent person, who is not a politician. He doesn't get free money from anywhere. He works hard to get his money, and he's not investing for any profit. Like I asked Deji, because we said, bro, what are you even doing this for? He said, Maurice, I'm doing it for God and for humanity's sake. That look, I don't need all these students for anything in my life. I don't need them to survive. I don't need them to get to any position. But someday, my children might need them. It's a very good thing. It's really done well. I feel so proud to be part of 94 set. I feel so proud to be a friend to Deji Bademosi for all what he's done. And I feel so proud to be part of this project.
The school, which was once looked down on, has now become a point of reference and top choice for people in the community.
Passing on the road, they were actually branching to see that could a better structure be on this school with what they have been seeing. So look at the design, look at the space that we managed to get what we have, and a very spacious classroom, corridor with a staircase that can ease the going and coming of the students. So in fact, the facility that is there make it far better.
The only thing that makes me happy is that these students will now learn in a good environment. And this will also enhance their quick grasp of whatever has been taught in school, makes them relax. You are safe. They feel safe now. I think the last time we went there, we saw the building. I couldn't imagine how they could understand what the teacher is saying. But one, you're not sitting well. You're either standing and you're receiving your lecture, or you're sitting with somebody. But with what we have on ground, I think the student will be happy, will learn well in that good environment.
Many young ones now, they are planning to come to St. Ambrose. Before, you see some parents, when they are passing by, they used to say, that's what they used to say in our language. I myself then, I cannot say this is my school. But now, I can boast. This is the school I passed out from. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm using this medium to thank Deji Badmus for what he has done for our school. He rebuilt our school, and God will rebuild his life.
With the junior classes, also referred to as downhill, now wearing a new look, the school authority, in addition to their great show of appreciation, are appealing for the extension of this gesture to the senior secondary classes of the school as well.
Permit me to ask like an Oliver twist. If this structure could continue to the senior section, it will be very good. Not as somebody living in a modern building, coming to a leaking classroom, a classroom where there's no fan, a classroom where there's no, in fact, dusty, stinking, rotten chairs. The chalkboard is even not good. It will not be so good. Permit me to tell you that we don't have laboratories in the school. Every classroom in this school is leaking. It's dusty, smelling. I'm sorry I'm using these words, but if you care to look at them, you will not like them. So will it be for a student that is graduating from junior section to senior section? It will be demoralizing.
For the man who has single-handedly done all of these, his primary goal is to pass a strong message across to the government, old students, and the general public.
My hope and intention is that when the government or the governor, if the governor comes to commission this, that when he comes, he would at least see what an old student has done, and then that could serve as some kind of motivation for the government now to do something, and not just for the government now to do something, but also important for other old students to take a cue. I mean, those who have been blessed to at least take a cue. And what I tell people is, I'm not a rich person. I'm not rich. It cost me so much, and but you really don't have to be rich to do certain things. So as an old student, even if it's just a block or two you're able to contribute, that would go a long way. And also very important is that people have always said journalists always take, they don't give. And this is to disprove that journalists we don't just report situations. So sometimes, journalism could make you do some very unexpected things. Do I plan to do more in the future? Yes, by the special grace of God, because to some extent, we are actually the government. So whatever, as individuals, whether individuals or collectives, not in government, whatever it is we can do to help make our society better, we should do it.
Many thanks for joining us The news, I'm Temilore Akinkole, and these are the stories of following. The National Assembly has urged the Supreme Court to dismiss the suit filed by the 11 People's Democratic Party (PDP) governors challenging the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. The federal legislator, in his response, contends that the plaintiffs, which are the PDP governors, was procedurally flawed and lacked merit. And Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State is dismissed as false and baseless allegations of financial misconduct made by former Secretary to the state government, Abdullahi Bafa Bichi, over the alleged diversion of 2 billion naira from local government funds. Governor Yusuf remarks follows recent statement attributed to Bichi, in which Bichi reportedly accused the current administration of misappropriating funds and alleged that the former governor of the state, Musa Kwankwanso, received illicit payment from the state's treasury. And some larger Delta stakeholders advised suspended Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara to rein in his supporters, saying their action can derail the ongoing reconciliation of the political disputes between him and the camp of the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike. The stakeholders particularly referred to a series of protests by the supporters of Fubara, arguing that such demonstrations would cast doubt on his sincerity to resolve the protracted dispute. And scores of youth have taken to the street of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, in protest of the arrest of a popular rights activist and social media influencer, Matters Vites Otse, also known as Very Dark Man VDM, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The protesters, who were sighted in the Wuse area just after the Berger Bridge, described VDM's arrest and detention as illegal. They also vowed to take their grievances to the Nigerian Human Rights Commission in the Maitama district of the nation's capital. And on business, the president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, says he is still fighting for the survival of his $20 billion refinery, stressing that the fight is not yet finished. Africa's richest man spoke at an investors forum in Lagos and expressed optimism that he would win the fight for the refinery, stating that his determination to fight is still on. And on the global scene, President Vladimir Putin of Russia has hinted that he hopes not to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Putin said Russia has the manpower to bring the brutal conflict to a logical conclusion. He also said that the need to use nuclear weapons has not yet arisen, and he hopes it will not. And finally, on sport, Oscar Piastri takes the win for McLaren, leading a 1-2 finish with teammate Lando Norris in second. According to the official Formula One website, Piastri clinched the third consecutive Formula One victory at the 2025 Miami Grand Prix. And those are the to join up the updates.
Yes, big amount center is on. Already enjoying it. Guy, seriously.
It gives people a short track of concept. It gives them very location of people of joy.
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Sydney Okafor. In keeping with his administration commitment to delivering quality education for students in Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has officially opened state-of-the-art classroom blocks, complete with a mini football pitch and a multi-purpose sports court at Keme Balogun Junior Senior College in Ibeshe, Ikorodu. The inauguration marked the commissioning of 16 state-of-the-art classroom blocks for secondary schools, facilitated by the Special Committee on the Rehabilitation of Public Schools across the 6th Education District in Lagos State, in line with the state's 10 Plugs agenda. Please take a look at the new state-of-art classroom blocks for secondary schools.
The commissioning of the new classroom blocks is expected to enhance the school's learning environment and improve the quality of education. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was received by a large crowd of residents and students, said the simultaneous inauguration of 16 new blocks of classrooms across the state is a testament to his administration's commitment to providing top-quality education for all residents. The governor further emphasized that the construction and renovation of these schools not only improve educational quality but also create jobs, stimulate the local economy, and provide livelihoods for workers involved in the projects.
Do one commission or two, we have to do it in concurrent and in large number. And today, in the past 1.5 months, we've been commissioning roads, we've been commissioning drainages. Now is the education sector, which is under a Teams Plus agenda. For some of you that are monitoring, earlier today, we went and commissioned the very ultra-modern, beautiful classroom block in a brand new school of Ajegunle Junior High School in Koshofe local government area on our way here. Also earlier today, with the Permanent Secretary, Tutor General, and 1 or 2 cabinet members, they've gone ahead to commission the Odogunyo Junior Grammar School, also here in Ikorodu. You can see that these ambitious events consolidate our commitment to development and pursuit of educational excellence and the social economic development in our state. Education, we say, is a cornerstone of our Teams Plus agenda. It's the engine that drives economic growth. It reduces inequality and empowers individuals to break the cycle of poverty. By investing in these schools, we're investing in the social economic fiber of our various communities. Earlier today, and you could see it from the video, I was deeply moved when we went to the Ajegunle Junior High School. This was a community that has been denied for the past almost 15 years. When heavy flooding ravaged the entire community and they lost the only school that they had. But about 2.5 years ago, they did road to us passionately and we did responded. Driving into that community this morning brings a nostalgia of the real essence of governance. When government make a promise and you keep a promise. Not only have we done the road into that community, that school had almost 150 pals. We did not consider the extent of what resource we needed to do to give that community a befitting world-class educational institution. And they also have the sporting grounds because a canteen and a football pitch was also constructed for them.
In the address, other speakers say the structures would not only enhance academic excellence, but also provide a conducive environment for learning.
Your action consistently reflects the premium you place on learning, demonstrating a deeper appreciation for its transformative power. Indeed, this is a shining testament to your dedication to educational advancement and holistic well-being of our students.
Keme Balogun got attention following instructions from Mr. Governor when he got information that the first set of the classroom blocks had 3 bungalows here before. To my left here, you see 2 bungalows still existing. In between those 2 bungalows, there is another one. So when we came here, we realized that they are all in derelict situations. We conducted some soil tests, and the result of the soil test immediately advised that we need to demolish one of the bungalows. When we did that,
Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Sidney Okafor. In keeping with his administration commitment to delivering quality education for students in Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has officially opened state-of-the-art classroom blocks, complete with a mini football pitch and a multi-purpose sports court at Keme Balogun Junior Senior College in Ibeshe, Ikorodu. The inauguration marked the commissioning of 16 state-of-the-art classroom blocks for secondary schools, facilitated by the Special Committee on the Rehabilitation of Public Schools across the 6th Education District in Lagos State, in line with the state's 10 Plugs agenda. Please take a look at the new state-of-art classroom blocks for secondary schools.
The commissioning of the new classroom blocks is expected to enhance the school's learning environment and improve the quality of education. Governor Sanwo-Olu, who was received by a large crowd of residents and students, said the simultaneous inauguration of 16 new blocks of classrooms across the state is a testament to his administration's commitment to providing top-quality education for all residents. The governor further emphasized that the construction and renovation of these schools not only improve educational quality but also create jobs, stimulate the local economy, and provide livelihoods for workers involved in the projects.
Do one commission or 2, we have to do it in concurrent and in large number. And today, in the past 1.5 months, we've been commissioning roads, we've been commissioning drainages. Now is the education sector, which is under a Teams Plus agenda. For some of you that are monitoring, earlier today, we went and commissioned the very ultra-modern, beautiful classroom block in a brand new school of Ajegunle Junior High School in Koshofe local government area on our way here. Also earlier today, with the Permanent Secretary, Tutor General, and 1 or 2 cabinet members, they've gone ahead to commission the Odogunyo Junior Grammar School, also here in Ikorodu. You can see that these ambitious events consolidate our commitment to development and pursuit of educational excellence and the social economic development in our state. Education, we say, is a cornerstone of our Teams Plus agenda. It's the engine that drives economic growth. It reduces inequality and empowers individuals to break the cycle of poverty. By investing in these schools, we're investing in the social economic fiber of our various communities. Earlier today, and you could see it from the video, I was deeply moved when we went to the Ajegunle Junior High School. This was a community that has been denied for the past almost 15 years. When heavy flooding ravaged the entire community and they lost the only school that they had. But about 2.5 years ago, they did wrote to us passionately and we did responded. Driving into that community this morning brings a nostalgia of the real essence of governance. When government make a promise and you keep a promise. Not only have we done the road into that community, that school had almost 150 pals. We did not consider the extent of what resource we needed to do to give that community a befitting world-class educational institution. And they also have the sporting grounds because a canteen and a football pitch was also constructed for them.
In the address, other speakers say the structures would not only enhance academic excellence, but also provide a conducive environment for learning.
Your action consistently reflects the premium you place on learning, demonstrating a deeper appreciation for its transformative power. Indeed, this is a shining testament to your dedication to educational advancement and holistic well-being of our students.
Keme Balong got attention following instructions from Mr. Governor when he got information that the post state of the classroom blocks had 3 bungalows here before. To my left here, you see 2 bungalows still existing. In between those 2 bungalows, there is another one. So when we came here, we realized that they are all in derelict situations. We conducted some soil tests, and the result of the soil test immediately advised that we need to demolish one of the bungalows. When we did that, it became obvious that the classroom to student ratio was not adequate. The population spiked, and as a result, when we approached Mr. Governor, the situation we are having here, he instructed the construction of the edifice we are seeing to my right. Thank you very much, sir. To do this building, typical with our modus operandi, standard operating procedures of scripts that have been laid down by Mr. Celibo, we conducted a structural test in this environment to be sure of the type of foundation we are going to put this building on. You know, because we don't want to assume that Ikorodu is solid soil. So what we do generally as a standard operating procedure that Mr. Governor has insisted we go through is to do a soil test to be sure, because we don't want to have any collapse.
The Lagos government says it has constructed about 1,290 blocks of classrooms across the 6 education districts of the state and also rehabilitated over 4,000 classrooms in both primary and secondary schools in the state within 6 years. It's promised to deliver some of the ongoing road projects in Ikorodu and build more primary and secondary schools for the benefit of the residents.
Education is the future of any nation. So it should be paid, they should pay close attention. But where I want improvement is the teachers, because teachers can only teach what they know. So our teachers in those schools need more trainings because they can't give what they don't have. What I've observed is that some of the teachers are not even qualified to teach. So they should pay attention to this. Their trainings, they need to be trained to train. If they don't have the training, no matter what facility they put down, nothing will, because it's what goes into the hearts of the children that will come out in the society. So education is very fundamental. It's a vital key to the development of a state, a nation, or any country. So that's my take on that. They should pay attention to the teachers. Because if you have a teacher that knows what they are teaching, the children will learn well and they will understand what they are learning. Teachers determine how, because these teachers are like leaders, they're like role models to the students.
We shouldn't even be thanking them for that. It is the right of every Nigerian to be educated. Constitutionally, at least from the primary school to secondary school, at least, every student, every Nigerian child has that constitutional, right to that educational, stages of the stages. You understand? For me, I believe we are still lagging. So many out of school children, especially in the north, we are better off here in the south, but we can do more. We have always taken the forefront in terms of education. We continue to do more. There are so many of our children out there who are not in school today. If the education is made affordable, if classrooms are moved closer to those children, there wouldn't be any need for them to trek miles before getting to their school or entering buses that will take them kilometers before they get to their school. Schools should be brought closer to them, and if it's not brought closer to them, there should be programs, facilities that will ensure that they are taken to school and brought back home. Then again, it must be affordable. It's even, I believe it should be a criminal offense for any family or parent not to send its ward to school, especially where the government has provided the needed classrooms. And I believe, while I do not want to thank the government because it is right of every Nigerian to go to school. I believe they should do more, and they are trying. I want to appreciate them for that.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello, Alhaji. Right now I'm in Abuja. No. Hello, Adamu. Right now I'm in Kano. Yes. When I get back, I will just call you.
Look, what is wrong with you? I'm talking on the phone and you are gesticulating and doing. What's wrong with you?
Daddy, where exactly are we as we speak?
Are you alright? This is Lagos.
Well, you just lied to someone that we're in Abuja.
Keep quiet. Who told you can tell an elderly person is lying?
Daddy, you just lied. And by lying, you're raising corrupt children for the future of Nigeria. That is corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it. Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. That is truly commendable by the governor. Our next story focuses on the commissioning of the new bus terminal in Abule Egba suburb of Orile Agege Local Council Development Area in Lagos State, which has now been integrated into an expanding network of modernized public bus stations connecting various communities in Lagos. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu officially commissioned the newly completed Abule Egba bus terminal, aimed at improving and facilitating seamless mass transportation between suburb and other parts of metropolis. Can we take a look?
This new Abule Egba bus terminal has officially been opened to the public by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu alongside his deputy Femi Amzat and other stakeholders. The launch is part of Governor Sanwo-Olu administration's commitment to build a seamless and integrated transportation network that will provide Lagos residents with improved daily commuting. The governor, speaking at the event, disclosed that the project is a fulfillment of his pledge to upgrade the public transportation system for the people of Lagos.
Today, here in the ever-bustling Abule Egba, we're here to hand over to the people another public infrastructure that will aid their seamless commuting from here to other parts of Lagos and even perhaps to other parts of the country. This infrastructure reflects our commitment to continuously enhance our public transportation system we're strengthening connectivity and we're improving the overall experience of our commuters. We are dedicated to taking ongoing steps to advance and to modernize public transportation across the state. You see that in addition to the blue line, to the red line that are in operation, you are aware that we are making moves to kickstart a 68-kilometer green line from Marina to the Lekki Free Trade Zone. You are also aware that we're in discussion stage, haven't done some feasibility on the Purple Line, which is a 60-kilometer from Volkswagen, which is an offshoot from the Blue Line, to all the way into Ogun State, the Redemption Camp by Mowe. We believe these are all connectivity that will enhance the rail infrastructure. You'll recall sometime last year that we went and signed MOU with Czech and the Ministry of Finance Incorporated to bring about the fusion of the Green Line. And I'm happy that work is starting very soon. Discussions are in advanced stages. Designs and drawings are being completed. And before the end of this year, you will begin to see the construction of that all-important Green Line project. That project, when completed, even has the capacity to carry well over 600,000 passengers at its peak. And so this is big public transportation solution that we're about. I'm happy that I'm happy that our rail infrastructure continue to contribute to the mobility of Lagosians. To further enhance that, we are also improving and enhancing our bus services. We are anticipating the arrival of new CNG buses and electric buses by the third quarter of this year. They are being produced as we speak, and I believe everything will be done preparatively to begin to receive these buses before the end of this year. This, we believe, would be a major addition to our current fleets, which will improve availability of buses and reduce waiting times at all bus corridors.
Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Osiyemi, through his permanent secretary, said the state policy reflects the government's commitment to safe, reliable and affordable transportation for all residents.
This is much so as the movement of commuters, goods and services from place to place are vital and inseparable aspects of global and urban economic survival. Over the years, the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation has reflected the contemporary realities and the vision of the present administration as regards equipping Lagosians with an efficient and effective transport system. This informed the various policies the ministry adopted to ensure reduction in traffic congestion at places where otherwise motorists and computers spend many unproductive hours in traffic. You will all recall the executive order signed by Mr. Governor on traffic management, following which very critical junctions were identified and remodeled to mitigate traffic gridlock. The government has worked on these junctions to engender better traffic flow. We can attest to the salutary effects of such improvement on Allen Roundabout, Lekki First and Second Roundabout, and the ongoing improvement at Tony Okpebi Allen and at the border subdivision areas. To better manage traffic-related issues such as overspeeding and indiscipline on the road, the government, through the ministry, has installed ITS in some areas of Lagos State. We have installed e-police sites at Allen Avenue Junction and Nuruddin Olookoko Road. We have also installed road signs to inform motorists of these regulations. About a year ago, Mr. Governor unveiled the state transport policy, a roadmap to Lagos' brighter, more effective, efficient, and sustainable future. Mr. Governor informed that the policy became necessary to eliminate the barrage of transport challenges facing the state's transport system, ranging from traffic congestion to pollution and inadequate infrastructure. the Lagos State transport policy is built upon a foundation of inclusivity, sustainability, and innovation. It embodies the government's commitment to providing safe, reliable, and affordable transportation options for all residents, regardless of their socio-economic status or location within the state, as well as integrating our various modes of transportation. The soon-to-be Commissioner Abelegba bus terminal therefore reflects the letters and spirit of the Lagos State transport policy. It is to provide a central place for connecting to different parts of Lagos, and based on this, I want to congratulate Mr. Governor on commissioning yet another impactful and life-changing infrastructure for the Abelegba community of Agege and the entire Lagos State. Mr. Governor, please be assured of our desire to continue to work until the last hour of this administration to bring your vision and that of the state government to reality.
This administration prioritizes traffic management and transport as the first pillar of its Themes Plus agenda. The Lagos State government has been and is still investing in the provision of infrastructure for public transportation, including rail, bus services, and water transportation. To properly coordinate bus operations in communities, bus terminals are necessary and are thus provided. Bus terminals are important because they provide a central location for passengers to board and exit buses and connect to other forms of transportation. To date, the Lagos State government has provided bus terminals in Ikeja, Oshodi Transit Interchange, Aja, Oyingbo, Yaba, Ojota, Ifakoijaye, and now at Abulegba. Iyano Ipaja bus terminal is currently also under construction. Like other terminals before this, Abulegba terminal has loading bays, a terminal building with a customer service area, a waiting area, spaces for restaurants and other commercial services, offices for ground staff and other BOCs, public conveniences, a water treatment plant, and provision for green energy, amongst others.
This development has integrated Abulegba, located in the Orile-Agege Local Council Development Area, into Lagos's growing network of communities connected by modern public bus stations. Abulegba residents have commended the governor for the project but urged for affordable bus fares.
Abulegba too is moving forward. If you look at the Abulegba and have changed it compared to 5-10 years backward, because I lived at Songo, something like that. But they've changed the face of Lagos as a whole, and they are building gradually. So I will tell Lagos State as a whole that they should remember us in Badagry. Presently, I reside in Badagry. God will help them. They've tried concerning the express road there, and God will help them to do more and more to all sectors, all areas in Lagos State, up Lagos State, up Nigeria.
When you are partaking in the BRT buses, it applies to everyone, whether you own a car or you don't. It decongest the traffic on the highways, so everybody don't have to put their cars on the road. So sometimes if you don't have a special function, you can just leave your car back home and make use of the public transport like the BRT. So the one in Abulegba, I think it's like, you know, and because that place is heading towards Ogun State, Abeokuta. So if you are able to get there faster, you can, you know, continue your journey to other areas. And people that are staying there, they can easily live like in outskirts of Lagos, while they live there. And they can go to work and come back on time without wearing out. So it's helping the masses a lot.
Sanwo-Olu added that the state expects new CNG and electric buses by the third quarter of 2025 with the aim to enhance Lagos bus services. He also urged residents to take ownership of the project to prevent vandalism of the infrastructure.
Welcome back. Lagos residents are truly reaping the benefits of taxpayers' money. Kudos to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his team. Well, that's all we have on this episode of Lagos Voices. I'm Sydney Okafor. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Well, I didn't know on time because I only knew that she found it difficult to read, and even when she started school, although I thought I was part of the reasons why she could not catch up with her mates, because I was actually I move around a lot. So when I moved, she has to change school. So I was thinking maybe that was the problem. But I actually found out later that even when I got her good teachers, the normal set of school teachers, I found out that she still finds it difficult. She's actually brilliant, very, very brilliant. But when it comes to book, she finds it difficult to read.
My name is Mrs. Uchenna Ahanotu, the director of Nene Special Education Center. I'm an educational psychologist, currently pursuing my doctorate degree in educational psychology from Imo State University. My dream had been always to help students to excel in their academics. So my dream had always been for gifted students. But then I now started coming across children with learning disabilities, and I found out that they were not getting the support they need. So I was helping them in my little way, one-on-one, until it now came to my doorpost. I got reports from the school that my daughter would be repeating class, primary 1. I was like, why? And they said she's not meeting up. This is a girl that is normally intelligent. You know she knows everything, but they said she couldn't read. So, as an educational psychologist, I now had to go back to my books because I had packed my books. I went back to my books to study, and now found out that there is something called dyslexia, and not just dyslexia, there were other neurological disorders. There was autism, there was ADHD, there was all those cerebral palsy. All of them are linked together. So that was how I started focusing on children with learning disabilities. I was going from school to help them, but then 2 times a week, 2 hours a day is not enough. It wasn't giving us the results we wanted. So we now had to open the center, and I told the parents, if you want an intensive program for your child, you could enroll him or her here. When she has developed to a certain stage, she can now go back to mainstream school. That was how Learning Center started.
High five. A sound. B sound. C sound.
The thing is, when a child is not performing well in school, and you have tried all you can, you've given the necessary intervention, lesson teacher, good books, and all that, and she's still performing low, I think it's time to diagnose her. As a psychologist, we diagnose, when a child comes to our center, we diagnose the child first to know the specific area of challenge. And that's why we're able to now diagnose, say this is dyslexia, this is dyscalculia, this is ADHD, this is autism. It can become comorbid with speech delay, whatever it is. So diagnosis is what we do first. When we diagnose, we can now draw up an education plan for the child. all our children have their own education plan, because a child with dyslexia is not at the same pace with another child with dyslexia. So we do one-on-one therapy, we do one-on-one teaching for them, meeting them at their various points of need, and then they come up. So that's basically the strategy, identifying the specific disadvantage and then tackling it individually, not as a class. My staff and I, we go for professional training. We go for courses mainly online.
Okay, this is actually a timer. This is a timer we use for their section. So each section for a child, because of children with autism, most times they are diagnosed with ADHD, that's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. So it's difficult for you to treat them in a normal class and take a long time with them. So we time our sections with them. For each section for a child, we have 15 minutes. So I put on my timer for 15 minutes. So I know that at the end of 15 minutes, the child knows he's done. We see them standing up sometimes because they're like, just want to get up and leave. So it helps us to time them and get the best results.
Challenges. Well, sometimes I want them to, like, you're teaching the child something, no other child you can easily pick up, but you have to keep consistently going over it day by day and all, and it's like seeing as if you're not getting a result. Or when you're trying to keep kids with ADHD, getting them to sit still while you're teaching them, it's can be very, very tasking. And also, sometimes they just don't want to learn. It's sometimes like that.
She has improved a lot compared to what she was then, because she was having low self-esteem, and then, but here they kind of, brought our confidence up. Our confidence level is a lot high, and even if you are not careful, you won't even know that she has that condition again. So I'm actually happy with my experience with Nene Special Center.
Well, it's been quite encouraging. It's been good. It's been a lovely experience. Jaden, my son, couldn't do some things, not until he started with the speech school. He couldn't feed himself. He couldn't identify letters. He couldn't identify numbers, but his hearing was perfectly well, and he's still fine. He hears very, very well, but he couldn't identify some things. But right now, he can identify, he can make sounds, and the rest of them. So I'm impressed.
Before, she won't even try to pronounce, as in, if the word is difficult, she just jumps it to the next word. But now she's trying to, and then she has improved in her reading. She has improved in her self-esteem. I don't know, psychologically, she has improved.
We started last year, 2022, with the few students I had. So this year we plan to go more social media and then reach out to schools, primary schools in particular, to inform the headmistresses, the proprietors, that there is a diagnostic center where they can diagnose a child's learning challenge, because most of them are harbored in these schools, but the teachers are confused. They just think maybe the child doesn't want to read. So we want to tell them there's a center where they can diagnose the child's disability, and then we can also help them to tackle the challenge. So our aim is just the proprietors, and then through social media, we reach out to parents that are worried about their child's development.
I want to ask every parent that when you observe that kind of situation with your child, you should seek. Don't just assume, because some secular schools, they don't really look out for these conditions in children. They just assume that the child is poor or the child is dull. They don't have provision for that in most schools. So, and then such child will have low self-esteem, and it will look like they cannot do anything, or they look inferior to their peers.
Okay, clap for yourself, clap for yourself. Thank you.
As I said, we started exactly May last year. So this is just 1 year, and we have had a total of 12 kids, about 12, 13 kids. And some of them are still on now.
Well, I must say it has been an amazing one. It has really been amazing. I get to meet wonderful kids every day. Yes, I see them and I'm like, God, these kids are just wonderful, because the world might not see them in that way, but meeting them every day has been like a blessing to me. Being able to interact with kids, it has been great.
My advice to parents that they should find out and keep a close eye on their child. Try to find out about their disabilities earlier in life, so that it will reduce the amount of time that we have to teach them.
Early detection matters. If your child is delaying, just come and find out if it's disorder or delay. We will tell you. If it's delay, we'll just tell you to go. With time, he will talk. But if it's disorder, you have to start immediately to intervene to help the child. Please find a good learning environment for your child. Find a center that understands their challenge and they'll be able to tackle their challenge with the right resources and with the right frame of mind. It's not a flogging issue. They need all the love and care they can get, and they also need the professional touch to get them out of where they are.
Ayetoro community is a theocratic communist setting funded by a group of believers known as the Apostles in 1947. Ayetoro community in its heydays has the largest per capita income in the whole of West Africa. Initially, Ayetoro community was 15 to 20 kilometer landmass away from the sea. But as it stands now, more than 10 kilometers of the total landmass has gone into the sea. And this frequent surge is attributed to emission from multinational oil companies off the coasts of our land, not minding the environmental challenges and disasters.
This is a community established in one of the Nigeria base. A lot of people you see in the offshore were trained here, both mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and nautical engineer were trained in this bush. Yes, this bush, I call this place bush. And this is the Shepherd Technical Workshop approved by the IWD, which is now Minister of Transport. IWD means the Inland Waterway Department. That is the colonial time.
This place is like small London. So, and our primary occupation here is fishing. You can see now, everything now has been eroded. Some of our fishermen, they have went to other places to find for their source of livelihood.
It's just a sudden that we have been experiencing caution coming every day by day. And since that time, we have been making effort to the federal government because we are law-abiding citizens. We believe that we cannot engage ourselves in a radical ways Because we believe that by protesting, writing letters, federal government can come to our aid. By the videos, a lot of things we have been doing since we have expressing the seed church.
I'm shooting. That area, that is the iconic worship center. Yeah, that's wood. That is the iconic worship center. Over there, we have the community service center here, over there. Then at the same time, the major streets where other minor streets were linked to has been permanently submerged by the ocean surge.
I'm seriously worried. I'm worried because this recurrency surge is affecting us in virtually all human aspects of our life. Social life has been collapsed, economic-wise has been collapsed, health-wise, nothing to sing and dance home about. Even our religious activities, our life, religious life, has been collapsed totally. Because Ayeto community is a religious setting. The church moved here. We have not just come here to trade or to do other activities. The church is the community is the church. So every aspect of our life has been totally, damaged by this current, recurring sea surge happening in Ayeto. Over 20 years, we've been into this. People have lost, several properties worth millions. Buildings has collapsed. Over 500 to 600 to 700 buildings have been washed away. Our industrial power has been collapsed. Ayeto community is known to be a self-developed community on its own, without any intervention of the federal government or the state government over the years. Yet we kept on going. If by now the ocean surge, as a result of the oil exploration that is going on in our offshore, is destroying our land. Up till now, we cannot see the hand of the government coming to help and to rescue us. It is so sad, and that's why I'm worried.
Ṣé ẹ bá wo gbogbo ibi ilé ló kún bẹ̀, gbogbo ilé yẹn ni òkun ti parẹ́ pátápátá. Bó dẹ̀ ṣe ń wó ilé yẹn ló ń wó gbogbo àwọn ohun àlùmọ́nì wa, àwọn ohun tí a ní, ilé, ohun ẹrù wa, ìmíì gan tó bá ń wo báyìí tí a bá tètè dìsámúra àti gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, ó gbé gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ nìyẹn.
Fund the trip of those guys. Trip of those guys.
This thing is excruciating, it is extreme. In fact, every blessed day, people used to die because of the thinking that the community that was founded at their present has been eroded. So it is extreme, it is serious, it is harrowing.
My father's house happened to be the extreme house before the Atlantic Ocean. We lost it 2017. 2007, that was when we lost it. It's highly devastating. Even the one that belonged to my grandmother, we lost it. That was along primary school road. We lost it too. So I've been affected. I'm highly devastated. Now I'm a tenant in my hometown. Imagine how is it highly devastating. We need the support of the entire world to save this community. Ayeto community is a community that must not go into extinction. It's a very serious situation.
So the community is divided into two, the up and the down. So the up is reserved for the male. Why do that? Because they want them to access the sea quickly because of the occupation they engage in. Then the downside is reserved for the female, so that they can dry their fishes, because the Atlantic breeze is coming from the up, so that the smoke will not disturb the community from up. That was why they situated the downside for the women, so that their kitchen can be the downside. So you have Bale Abejoye, Korodun Aneroye, Adedoyin Alebiosun, Bishop Arojolu. Then so after Arojolu, you have the information house or the glass house, as we used to call it.
So where's the glass house now?
It's gone already.
It's some months already.
That is where all the information regarding the Aito community, people come in just like you came now. All the information you buy your trip, what you are going to do, when you are going to, you go back, so it will be documented before you go into the community. That was how it was done then. Then the city hall or civil center, there too, all of them have gone. After the city hall, you have Ojomo Street is gone too. So behind Ojomo, you have the church building. The church street and the church building is gone already.
And that church is very important.
Very important. Community. That is where they situated that night of January 12, 1947. They situated when they came in. Now we have Akinjoye, we have Ajayi. Then in Ajayi Street, you have the first Ogeloyinbo Palace built with wood. So that one is gone too. We have the Olowojayi. Then after Olowojayi, you have the shoe making industry.
There used to be a shoemaking
industry. One of the industry, a small scale industry. Then behind the shoemaking industry, you have the clothing making industry too. So that one too is gone. So we have after Olowojayi, behind it is the shoemaking and the clothing making. We have Olowo Topa Oyinbo. We have Omogbenwa. Then after Omogbenwa, we have the carpentry workshop. So the carpentry workshop too is currently threatening. Half of it is gone into into the sea. And then you have Tobase. Then after the Tobase street there, you have a mini supermarket. There's a mini supermarket there. So after the mini supermarket is where you have Oyetomi Street. So from the upside,
where's the mini supermarket?
This is just behind the what's it called?
But it's still there.
We can still find it there. So after the what's called the mini supermarket, you have Oyetomi Street. So from the main side now, the main streets, Oyetomi Street is the only surviving street you can find up